Part 3, the final push. So if you've been following along with part 1, part 2, you'll have a bit of an idea where we're at. If you're just coming into the conversation now, I'll give a brief recap of where we're at and what we're doing. So this is the first folding knife I've ever made, so we're giving it a good nudge. I started with the basic concept here, as you can see. From there I've gone and made the blade, shaped that up. One point I will note is that I shaped the blade first and then I put the hole in. I think I've got that a little bit crooked. Next time if I do it again, and I will do it again, I'll put the hole in first and shape the blade around that, but that's a bit of a sidetrack. We might talk about that at the end. So as you can see, I've got some liners in here. I've got the bolsters. Doesn't look a lot different from the beginning of part 2, but these parts here are hardened and tempered. This has been hardened and tempered and shaped, which is in itself, that's quite a lot of work. So I've got the bolsters, I've got the liners, I've got the parts and the pins, and I've got the scales. So I'm pretty much ready now to just get the scales put onto the liners. I'll put the bolsters on the liners as well. I'll pin that up, epoxy it where I need to. I've elephant glued that part in there, so that's good to go. So now it's just a matter of finishing off really. You will note that the scales are a little bit big. It's just what I had at the time, so it's what I'm going to use, but also because these angles here, if you're new to knife making and you do what I thought I'd do on one knife and put the scales and glue them in and then shape them up, if they get too hot that glue will melt and they'll move. When I've got a scale that big, I can slip it in like that. I've got the angles right, so if the gap between them gets a little bit bigger or smaller, that can slide up and down. It gives me heaps of clearance to work with. So that's where we're up to. I'll move that, and we will proceed from there with the final push and hopefully get this done in this part 3. So thanks for watching if you've been watching the other ones. Thanks so much for subscribing, and let's make it happen. I've given the bolster parts a bit of a roughen up, bit of a rough grind. So now I'm going to actually elephant glue them to the liners, put the pins in a little bit and fit the wooden scales. So I like to just roughen them up a bit with a bit of sandpaper first. The surfaces that I'm going to glue anyway, so it just helps take the glue a bit better. I'll probably come back and epoxy them, but for now I just want to fit it up so I can rough grind it up. Oh. Nothing too amazing, just sorting that. Don't know if I did the right side, never mind, do both. I don't want to get them mixed up either, so there you go. The old brass takes the heat when you start hitting it with the sander. It'll probably melt the glue, but that's okay. I want to get the wooden part right. was 2. 2. So that will go there. So get that ready, get that ready. Get it on. Oh no. Kick the camera, sorry about that. First part done. This one's getting a little bit fiddly. We'll do what we got to do. Tops on. Get in there. Fell through as usual. Wee bit of a gap in there, but I've got enough meat in this wood to ultimately sort that out. That's why I leave them long. What I'll do now too is I'll find a marker. There's a marker. I'll just roughly cut these out, get that wood glued in there first, epoxied I mean. And then we'll go from there. So far not too bad. Like I said before, I've never made a folding knife before, so I'm sort of venturing a little bit into the unknown. But so far so good. So same deal with the other side. Just got to make sure I get the right everything. So that's all good. I think I'll just glue the wood on and then shape it up. But yeah, food for thought. Go there, put that in there first so I don't have an issue like before. Didn't work. Stuck to me. Get in. It's the holes in the liners that are going to pin the whole thing together which are most important. The rest of it's just like that there, which isn't going through. Another reason I use the elephant glue is if I have a bit of a fail like that. It's gone off a bit quicker than I thought it would. Pin ain't fitting through, so you can use a bit of heat, and the elephant glue should just come off. Like that. So next time, yeah, we'll give that another go. Hopefully it doesn't bend anything or distort it. That's the beauty of the elephant glue for that reason. So if I get it wrong, I can just take it off, steel on steel. Right, seconds out, round 2. See if I can get it right this time. If I don't get it right this time, I won't show this part in the video, so you'll never know. But if I do, you'll see. I want to pin that there. because I can't. Yes, I can. Pin that there. Finger under there, finger under there. A little bit better up. That's better. Methinks. That's what I'm looking for. Clamp that down. Nice. I'll do that end. For some reason, I appear to have run out of pins. So I shall improvise and make some more. There we go. So I want to get that, I want to do that. Put that on there, I think. Should have done what it has to do. Bear with me. Bear with me. That in there. Which side does that go? Can't remember. That'll do. Righty ho. Glue time, baby. Well, that's a little bit slippery. We'll put that in there like that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Not a bad effort. Get a clamp on that. Hope for the best. Nice. So I'm going to epoxy those. Wood on. That wood on. Sorry. So I should be able to get in there with a bandsaw afterwards and cut that off. Then we'll shape her up. It doesn't look right, but never mind. Wrong one. Ah, that's better. What do you know, they're the same. So that's good. Yep, no, that's good. Got away with that one, luckily enough. Don't mix your numbers up. I was lucky that time, but normally you're not. Righty ho, let's move on to the next stage. We'll epoxy these in. Right, I'm going to epoxy her up. So I should probably measure it a little bit better than I do, but this is just how I do it. Seems to work. The old spoon, that's what came with it. I've acetoned them. Just cleaned off any grease or whatever. So get about the same amount out of there, put it on there. Pretty simple stuff, hopefully you can see it in the video. Clean that off. A little bit of hardener, about the same amount, it's supposed to be 50-50 this. Looks about right. This is just epoxy I get from a local hardware store. It's worked pretty good for me. It's probably better stuff, but I find this really good. It's not the warmest of days, so it'll take a wee bit to go off. Trying not to get it all over me. Something else I was going to say, but I can't remember. So I'll just get that mixed up. Probably got far too much, but so I'm just going to glue her up, stick it in the vise overnight, come back to it tomorrow. In the meantime, I'll work on the World War II bayonet that I'm trying to restore, that I am restoring. So when that's all done, you can look forward to that little video. I'll get that on the YouTube as well. Seems to have gone a funny colour, but oh, you get that. Nice good mix. Once again, don't mix up your numbers like I did before. So I got away with it. That's pretty rare. The other side I'll clean up when I peen it all up. I probably should have put some pins in this because when you vice it up the epoxy tends to move, but hopefully we get away with that. So here's number one. Get that in there nice and tight. I'll go and vice that up. Be back in a second. A little bit much actually, a bit of a waste. You mind? That's all good. Beautiful, beautiful. The other side there, once I've peened it up, if you can see that in the video, once I've peened it all up and drilled all the holes and done what I have to do, then I'll polish that off so it doesn't scratch the blade. So yeah, thanks for coming. And I'll just go and vice that one up, and then first thing in the morning we'll crack back into this little project. We're shaping up the handle scales, as you can see, and come across a little bit of an issue. Not sure if you can see that in the video, but he's got a bit of distortion in it, bit of a bend. Could be an issue, might not be, but you'll notice that this one here, flat as. So what happened? Not sure exactly. I might have pushed the wood in, squeezed it in a bit tight and bent it. I could have distorted it when I heated it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to peen these all up now. And I'm going to try and face. It's only about less than 0.5 millimetre. It's very little. I'm going to try and face it a bit flatter than that. These things happen. So once it's peened up, I'll give it a bit of a go on the old flat platen and see if we can get a little bit better. And see how we go from there. We're nearly there. So what you've been seeing me do naturally, you can see, is I've been putting on the scales. Bit of a mission, to be fair. Bit of trouble. A few things aren't 100%. You might be able to see a little wee gap there, but it's all learning, and you learn by doing, and that's what I wanted to do. So now I'm going to have a final fit up, have a quick look, make sure it functions before I pin it all together. There's a fire alarm going off, hope nobody's hurt. Don't know if you can hear that, but yeah, she's going. So I'll put this back on here. A few wee tweaks and things I've done I haven't shown. I'll put my maker's mark on the blade. I don't know if you can see it, but I didn't show that. If you want me to go over how I put my maker's mark on and etch it on, it's not the best in the world, but I like it. I'll go over that in another video. Just leave something in the comments. It's a horrendous noise. So yeah, so far it's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it, to be fair. It is a prototype. If you watch many of my videos and hear much of me talk, you will probably hear me say at some stage there's two types of knives I make. Knives I make for myself, which are just a functional tool, so I don't really put a lot of effort into a lot of stuff. And there's knives I make for other people, which I put a lot of effort into. I put everything into them, actually. This one I'm making for myself, it's just a prototype. I wanted to test my theories, see if I could do it. And yeah, it's functioning pretty good. I'm happy with that. That's pretty good. I was a little bit concerned about the spring action, that flicking back up and holding, but that's staying there, so that's good so far. A few little issues with it, things that I'm not happy with, but you're always going to get that. And as I move forward and make more of them, I'll sort that out. I think I've got my processes looking pretty good now, and I know where I went wrong. If you can see in the video, that's sunk in there. The reason for that would be that I shaped this blade first and then I put the hole in, and I'm thinking I didn't quite get it exactly where I wanted it, so I should have taken more time and should have been a little bit more accurate, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Apart from that, it's functioning. Like I say, it's a functional tool. Still a bit of learning. My peening wasn't exactly the bestest, but again, I'll work on that over time. So now what we got to do, I'll stick it together, I'll peen her up, make sure it still functions, and give it a bit of an epic hand sand on the handle, get that right. Feels pretty good to me, but we've still got a wee bit of work there to just get the finish going. Another point I will note, if I make another one, and I will make another one, is this pin here, you can see is really close to the edge. I'll work out a way of screwing them together next time, so if anything does go wrong I can take them apart and fix them. Not that it would, but that's a little bit close. I'm a little bit nervous about cracking that wood out. So we'll see what happens there, hopefully not. So yeah, we're on the final stretch, so let's pin it together, crack out the sandpaper and get the job done. My first attempt at a folding knife, and there she is. Remu handles, 1084 blade. If you've been following along, you'll see what's happened, and yeah, am I happy with it? overall, yeah, pretty much am. It's pretty good. Big learning curve for me. Enjoyed the whole process, so a few things I don't like about it, a few things I got wrong, but I know where I went wrong and I know how I can improve, so that's good. That's good value. One thing is the peening, you'll notice, and yeah, I was told don't countersink them because you'll never fill the hole, but I thought I knew better, and as you can see, I didn't. So, like I say, it's a learning curve, and sometimes you have to learn the hard way. But I'll improve on that, and that's all good. The other thing, I underestimated how accurate you need to be. You need to get that swivel part pretty much perfect. What's happened with this one is when I flicked that in there, you can see that that's sunk in. The reason for that is that I shaped the blade, got all that shaped, and then put the hole in, and I got a little bit wrong. I chased it all the way through, but that's just what happened. How am I going to remedy that in the future? Got this little thing here, if you can see it, a little direct dial indicator, I think they call them, I'm not sure, and I'll make up a little jig so I can get the tuning right. But it's all good, and moving forward I know where I can improve, and I will do. So what's left now, I'll give it a bit of a sharpen up. We'll take it on some of our next new expeditions and put it through its paces, and I'll get back to you with how well it performs. So thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much for subscribing, because that really does help me. And that's all I've got to say about that, apart from I hope you really have an enjoyable day.